Bitcoin is currently on the move and the market has woken up from its New Year slumber. But where is it heading next? Today, we're breaking down the key data and trends you need to know to stay ahead. Stick around as I will be sharing potential ideas from the heat map, some more intricate data, as well as something about the seasonality, where we might be heading and what has been happening in the past. And in the very end, I will be sharing my personal price predictions and what I'm going to do, what trades I'm going to be taking. So let us start into the video with the price structure. And as you can see, we've slightly adjusted this from the last video, but it remains basically the same. What we think has happened, and I will just draw this on the chart, is that a wave 3 has stopped around the midst of December. Since then, we've seen an A wave down and a wave 4 correction, a B wave up, and a C wave down is the potential structure that we're eyeing out here. Of course, as always, other things can happen, but this is our primary scenario. Now, what prices exactly we're going to be watching, what exactly we are expecting, what our primary scenario is, and so on, we will look at later in the video, so make sure you stick around for that. First, let's look at the liquidation heat map, which is going to give us some reasons and some reasonable steps of action we can take for what is going to happen next. We have seen this small price rally basically since the new year has started. This sideways chop was from just before Christmas, and basically up until now we're basically still in the sideways chop. This is just due because most people are not trading, most people are not at their desk, most people are simply, well, in holidays and there is no action happening. What do we see now on the liquidation heat map? Well, we see a lot of liquidity, and this is something I've been saying in the past videos is what I'm going to be watching for, has been forming at the 90k level and also down here at the 72k level. Also down here, but I think this is not realistic when we hit this price level. Let's just remember these two things for later on in the video when we're going to be discussing the trades I will be taking. Levels 90k and basically between 80 and 70k. The upwards liquidity, which I will be watching out for, is also starting to form up. Since this peak on the 26th of December, more liquidity has been added here and more liquidity is being added up here, which we've basically been seeing from the all-time high. So there are some shorts waiting to be liquidated. What exactly that's going to mean for us, we're going to look at later. First, let's look at this. This is basically, I will explain all of this, don't worry. Up here is just the normal price. Down here is the open interest. This is spot volume, this is also spot volume, and this is funding. You don't need to know, you don't need to understand everything that you see here. I will explain it to you in a second. Firstly, price has been, and I will draw this on so you can clearly see it, has been increasing, while open interest has been also increasing, but lately been dipping again. And why is this relevant? Well, basically, this allows us to see what exactly is happening in the market. Are people buying spot? Are people buying with leverage, with long or short? All of these things, and they allow us to judge the current market sentiment, if this is a healthy pump, if this is an unhealthy pump. Well, the question now is this healthy, is this not healthy? What you can see, price is rising, open interest is rising but has been declining again, and I will draw a line on the funding so you can see it more clearly. I will start at the same point here. Funding has basically, it's slightly risen, basically the same. What does this tell us now? And also, ever since this has been dropping, funding has also been dropping. What does this tell us? Well, and let's also look at the spot volume. Well, this pump is partially caused by spot buying. It has been caused by some leverage buying as well, but the leverage is being flushed out. Not a lot of long positions are being added. The ratio of long and shorts has basically remained the same throughout this miniature pump, which is very healthy because that doesn't mean that we need an upward spike or a downward spike to liquidate some unnecessary positions. What we can say from this is basically this is in line with what we think will happen to the price, which we are going to go into greater detail in later. But nothing that we can see here is going to tell us anything about the current price, except that this was caused mainly by spot buying and by leverage, but balanced leverage, which is quite a healthy sign and a sign that we can go higher with the prices. Now, looking at some seasonality tweets. This is by Rect Capital. He is basically very intricately analyzing the different cycles and seeing what similarities there is. And he is saying Bitcoin is offering more confirmation for additional downside. Once Bitcoin clears its historically corrective weeks 7, 8, 9 in price discovery, the opposite will be true. This is a tweet that he quoted this with, and he's saying week 9 is slowly ending. Basically, it is saying that Bitcoin has been historically corrective within the week 7, 8, and 9 in price discovery. Price discovery, what does that mean? Well, after we reach a new all-time high, that is when price discovery starts. So somewhere around, well, no, actually way lower. But basically, when we started, I'm not going to zoom out and show you because it's unnecessary, but after we started, let us assume the all-time high, the previous was here, which it wasn't. After we broke this 9 weeks, basically 7 weeks, we see upwards action, and then we see week 7, 8, and 9 downward direction. But this is coming to an end now, and this is basically bullish news. And another reason why we could say prices are rising. We'll get to that in a second. One more tweet before we get to that. This is by Bitcoin Manga. You can see him down here, also on Twitter. And he's been saying 1Q, so the first quarter of the year, has been very positive in post-election years historically for Bitcoin. The real Donald Trump pump is on the horizon. What he's basically saying is that whenever we had a post-election year, the first quarter of the year has been positive for Bitcoin. Again, seasonality is very important in markets. Markets move in cycles. That is also the whole basis of Elliott waves, basically. Now, after we have had this, well, to some extent, quite bullish data, what are we going to do? What do we think is going to happen? What trades are we going to take? Let's revisit our structure that we have. We think a wave 3 has topped. So what does this tell us? Well, there's more room to the upside, and we're going to be making new all-time highs if this structure plays out. This is not financial advice, of course, just our opinion. We will be making new all-time highs still. What does this also mean implicative? Well, if you look at where price is currently and look at where the all-time high is, we will see at least an 11% gain. We think it is much higher, but for now, let's just keep that in mind. Prices with the structure is going to make a new all-time high. It's going to be more than 10%, more than 20% probably. But currently, we're still in a corrective structure. What has happened since? And we have predicted this. This has been on the chart for a long time. We've seen a wave A to the downside, corrective. And now, what we think is going to happen is that we're going to be seeing a wave B and a wave C. And what levels we're watching for, I'm going to highlight now. And at the end of the video, I will be telling you what trades I will be taking. We will basically be watching for a price reversal, which is going all the way into this support box. And what we are going to be watching for is basically a turnaround in the support box. So the turnaround could look like this, that we touch 100.2K and then turn around. It could also look like this, touching this level and then turn around. And the third one, I think you get the point. Basically, anywhere in the support box, we hit the support box, we turn around, we see lower prices. Now, what happens if that isn't the case? What happens if we break down now? Well, that means maybe the A wave isn't complete. Maybe we are already in a C wave and this was the B wave. Or the third scenario that could happen is that we actually sustain above the support box and go higher. That means a different scenario is at play. I will just draw this on the chart for you very quickly. It could look something like this, that we see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern and then further upwards continuation. So we are going to be watching if we have a sustained break above the support box, we are probably in a different scenario. The correction has already been formed and we are going to be watching for higher prices in the last and fifth wave of this cycle structure that we have on the chart. Now, let us assume the price goes here somewhere in the support box and turns around. What are we going to expect where the price is going to land? Well, for that we have this support box, and again, it's the same sort of theme as the first support box. We're going to be watching for price to go somewhere here, somewhere between 95 and 80k. And remember what I said earlier in the video, remember the price points, 90k and basically between 80 and 70k. That is also basically where our support region lies. We are going to be watching for us to hit somewhere in the support box, and then we're going to be watching for a turnaround and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you get the point what we're going to be watching for here. But again, we are going to be watching for a turnaround in this box, which is right now between 95 and 80,000. If we get a sustained break below 80,000, you can already see it here. Something like this scenario might be at play, where we go really, really low, and this could already be classified as a bear market. If we get a sustained break below 80,000, we're in big trouble. The chances of us making new all-time highs within the cycles diminish a lot. Of course, we will see higher prices at some point in the future, but at that point, it could take years if we lose so much strength that we lose 80k. This will be sort of the last hope support box, but if we even lose this, if we lose 60k, then there is no hope left. Of course, if something like this happens, we will update you with a new video. Now, and of course, we'll also update our members. If you're interested, check that out. But first, before I talk about that, let's get to what we are going to be doing here. Well, we personally don't have a current position open. We have a long order waiting down here. And again, please don't just randomly copy or just blindly copy this, what we're doing. Consider what your strategies, what your circumstances are. If you want to know exactly how you can do that better and you don't know, feel free to check out, first link in the description, our trading course. But what we are going to do is we're going to be watching for prices to be going down here, and our buy order is basically sitting in this white circle between 86 and 80,000, basically in the middle. Of course, this varies with exchanges, but around 83.5k is where we have our buy order with a 3x leverage long waiting, with a stop loss below this box. So in case we lose 80k, below 80k is our stop loss, because we think that is a very important support level. And if we lose that, then all hell is going to break loose and we're going to dip way, 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 way lower. And what are we going to be looking at for profit taking? Well, we're going to be going to at least the all-time high, but we are not sure yet exactly. We have to define the goal as prices move lower, because then we can accurately decide how high we think prices will go. But we're looking at around, and I will just draw this on the chart, around this area here at 120k, 160k, somewhere here is where we will be taking profits. As I've said, if you're interested in learning trading, feel free to check out our website. It's the first link in the description. We have a start of year sale until the 31st of January. We offer a psychology-based trading course, Bitcoin and Ethereum chart analysis, so something like we do in this video, just maybe a bit more frequent and more in detail. A trading strategy, so if you don't know where to start, you can check that out. And trading signals, what I've discussed, my trades and our trades. You just get them more frequently and you get all of them. Yeah. I think with that enough is said. I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.